like you said, he's got 3 rings, right? And just to clarify, none of those rings are with Toronto, right?
Is Fraser Minton going to have more points than Safkovsky this year? Fraser Minton sucks at hockey. This guy might not even be an NHLer, so we got to settle down on that one.
Adelaide, no. Minus 160 on will they show her holding a drink in her hand.
They are 2 points behind the St. Louis Blues in the wild card, and they are.
Oh, the Blues are dog water. The Blues suck. The Blues are the worst of those 4 teams that I mentioned by a mile.
And
they're not a good hockey team.
Care, like have some set of balls, have some response, have some pride for what the hell goes on the ice. It's so absurd.
I'm looking forward to the parade, but that's going to be later in the year.
I'd rather have so money in that than have Arbor Soda Ball. I would rather stack a bunch of garbage that I have in the corner of my room over here than have Arbor Soda Ball in that. He's
April 12th, welcome back to Edgework, presented by Stacks. I'm Zack Phillips, and today we're joined by the Hart Trophy candidate himself, Alex Moretto, here on this Friday morning to help us break down tonight's 5 NHL games, give out best bets, and talk about the hunt for 70 for Austin Matthews. I mean, I know we're not trying to do Leaf-specific shows here, but it's got to be brought up. You got a guy in the NHL who's 2 goals away now with 3 games remaining from 70 on the season. It has to be discussed. But before we can get into any of that, I want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, please head on over and sign up for Stacks Betting Exchange. If you're sick of getting limited and profiled, Stacks is a unique sports betting exchange that offers higher limits and better pricing. Stacks offers a fair and real-time marketplace for users to bet on the outcome of sporting events, offering better odds in a peer-to-peer marketplace. Stacks is the best option for anyone who wants to wager on live sports. Make sure to add Stacks to your list of outs and sign up today. The option is yours at Stacks. You're also going to notice today, as we go through these games, or go through all 5, we'll just take a look at them, even if we don't have best bets. We'll take a look at them, talk about where the prices are at. You'll notice a lot of them are going to have the best price available at Stacks. So why would you not want to have that in your list of outs? Make sure to sign up now. We're at a little bit of a tough day for the cleanup crew last night. 2-3-1. It brings us to 335, 365, and 17 on the season. That's over 700 bets this year. We're at a 0.5% ROI now. We saw ourselves get as high up around the All-Star game to about, I think it was like 8.7. And since that point, we're now down to 0.5. Still in the green, up 3.7 units. But what do you make of this kind of collapse we've had ourselves here since the All-Star game?
I don't know if we should abandon the cleanup crew nickname. I think the time has come. The self-appointed cleanup crew has not been doing any cleaning. They've just been adding to the mess. So yeah, I think we're gonna abandon that nickname.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, it's been a tougher run down the stretch, but I think we're gonna have a big playoffs here. Just fading the Leafs every game obviously is I think the way to go. There's a few different routes we can take here, but yeah, I think that lines get sharper as things go on. I think the CLV has still been there, and it kind of you can get into that whole CLV debate, but for the most part we're getting good numbers. I think a lot of it's just down to variance. Like there's a lot of totals that maybe deserve better that don't necessarily get home. A lot of overtime losses, shootout losses. It is what it is. At least we're not down. We still have time to kind of get back to where we want to be, and hopefully we can start tonight, because I got a few bets that I feel pretty good about.
Well, let's get to those. We won't make people wait. But before quickly here, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to be a bit of a dick today. I haven't asked people to really like the stream that much in like the last couple of weeks. You should be liking the stream. If you're watching the show, if you're watching it back after, hit like while you're watching. It does help support the show, support the content, helps us grow a little bit more, helps us be able to do more things. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to be able to bring stuff to you guys every single day, playoff previews, live watch-alongs, all that kind of stuff. And if you like the stream, it just helps us take it a little bit further. So I've been kind of slacking and asking you guys to like the stream over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to be back on it today. I'll be checking the likes and see if you guys are following along here, because like to start the show, about a quarter of the people watching had hit like. Just not enough. Let's get into the games, because I don't want to make people wait for those here. So let's start in St. Louis, where the Blues are hosting the Carolina Hurricanes here tonight. Moretto, we got a best price available on St. Louis at plus 182. We're seeing minus 195 on the Hurricanes right now. I see 5.5s. Obviously, those are leaning towards the 6, and you can find some plus money on some overs on the 6. What's your interest level here tonight in this game, whether it be side or total? Do you have any at all? Like, what are your thoughts on where prices are currently sitting at?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it goes without saying that hopefully this is the game that puts the final nail in the coffin for the Blues playoff hopes. Sitting on some juicy Blues to not make the playoffs that I would like to just not
some
have to
blue
even
horseshoe
remotely
bets.
worry about. Yeah, I would like to not have to even worry about those over the final few games. I think the price is about fair. Like total wise, I do have a play in this game. I'm going to see what we're looking at in terms of best prices available, but I'm on the under here. So the Blues have kind of rediscovered their identity as sort of a low event team. That's kind of what they've got to, down the stretch. That hasn't necessarily been reflected on the scoreboard consistently. Bad goaltending has kind of sunk them a little bit, but they've essentially given Binnington like a prolonged rest period here after he sort of struggled in his last game on Sunday. He hasn't played since then. That's 5 days off. And this year he's been outstanding on like 4+ days rest. You know, when they've given him that time, almost 12 goals saved above expected in 7 games where he has at least 4 days off in between. So you give him that rest. Hopefully he comes back and bounces back a little bit here. And the Blues have just been really struggling to generate consistent offense. Like their output is kind of inflated over the last several games because they've been playing some really bad teams like some San Jose's and some Anaheims and stuff, Chicago. Jake Neighbors also out. He's confirmed out again tonight, which very much hurts them, second on the team in goals. And Carolina's just playing suffocating hockey right now. Like defensively, goaltending wise, everything has just been on point as they get ready for the playoffs. They're really kind of rounding into form, kind of doing what they need to do and getting back to that, Hurricanes brand of hockey. They're just giving up absolutely nothing. You look at their last 8 games, they've allowed 6 goals, which is just insane. And the way St. Louis is generating offense right now, don't necessarily see that breaking here. So, yeah, I don't think the Blues have any chance to beat Carolina in a back and forth game. They obviously know that with their playoff hopes sort of hanging by a thread. What they're going to do here is likely just lean back, rely on Binnington, who's kind of got them to where they are at this point and kept them in this race. Rely on Binnington, hope for, a little sucker punch back, kind of get a goal or two when they can. And, just sort of that low event game, keep things tight, hopefully to at least, get things to overtime and take their chances from there. So I do expect a low scoring game. I think the 6s are pretty, the 6s, I would play those 6s at -120 would be my preference. Otherwise, I am fine with the 5.5 plus monies as well.
All right, so we'll grab a under 6 at -120 there. You can find those at some pretty popular sports books right now. So we will lock that in as our first play. And Moretto, I don't know if you have this information or if you've seen any of this or anything, but Jay Stone is asking here in the chat, seem to be having troubles. Who do you guys see as far as being out on the Carolina roster here tonight? Have you gotten any updates or seen anybody who's specific who's going to be missing here tonight?
I have not. I know there were a couple of guys that were having sort of maintenance days from practice yesterday. Stahl and Teravainen didn't practice. There's been nothing in terms of like guys confirmed out or guys confirmed being rested. I'm not sure what they're going to do. Obviously, the Rangers losing last night kind of opens the door for Carolina to go and potentially grab that first seed in the Metro, which is, it's there for the taking right now. They don't necessarily control their own destiny, but they definitely have a chance. I don't know if that weighs into their decisions for tonight or not, but yeah, I think either way, if there are some guys that rest, it could only really help an under at the end of the day.
All right, let's keep it moving. Another game here on the schedule tonight. The Blackhawks hosting the Nashville Predators. We see Chicago right now plus 218. The other side, the Predators, -246, best price available. And guess what? That's over at Stacks. So make sure to check that out. But -246 on the other side. We're seeing, again, some 5.5, some 6s, very similar to what we just saw in the last one. But these 5.5s, we're seeing a lot more out into the -130 range as you get to the over on those 5.5s. Any thoughts on your Preds here tonight, Moretto? Is there any way that we could get involved in this one? Or is it just let it be and root for your Preds?
I think this is kind of a tough one to take any sort of angle on. Like there's nothing really to play for here for these teams. Chicago obviously just playing out the stretch. Nashville somewhat locked into that first wild card spot. They could drop down to the second one. I think it's a little unlikely, but yeah, I do lean towards the under here just based on the fact that I don't think you can trust Chicago to generate any sort of offense. That being said, at the rate Nashville is generating offense themselves, it's pretty insane over the last month, last few weeks, last everything. Like their offensive numbers at 5-on-5 are just off the charts. Their shooting percentage has gone down quite a bit last 2 weeks now. They are at 6% shooting percentage at 5-on-5. That is despite generating a league high 3.85 expected goals per 60, which is just some insane numbers. So yeah, I don't trust Chicago enough to actually back the under here, just at the rate, which with Nashville is generating offense. And I also don't trust Chicago enough offensively to get on and over here. So just nothing for me, obviously. No real interest in this side, although realistically it would be, maybe like a +1.5 for the Blackhawks or nothing. Because Nashville, you just don't know, are they going to rotate guys in and out? They don't really have much to play for. It's kind of hard to see where you don't know what kind of intensity or what kind of effort you're going to get from teams at this late in the season, especially when they're kind of locked into their places. So I got nothing on this game. And yeah, I don't really have any strong leans either way.
Could I potentially interest you in a Blackhawks Ducks -1.5 parlay?
I mean, if it was a Wednesday, maybe, if it was
Yeah.
a Wednesday, I think I might get there. But yeah, I think I'm out on that.
All right. Well, maybe you have some interest in the next game here. The Edmonton Oilers hosting the Arizona Coyotes. Again, another big price on a team. We see Edmonton -278. The Coyotes plus, plus 251. 6.5's right across the board here. Just kind of going to be price dependent based on what books you're looking at. But 6.5's in this game. Any thoughts on this one? Any bets for you for tonight?
Yeah, if we can lock in one of those 6.5 -110s on the overs, that would be perfect. That's what I played. Everything about this game just kind of shouts goals. I know, obviously, I wouldn't expect McDavid to play tonight, so you would think getting on and over without McDavid seems crazy. I don't think Edmonton's necessarily going to struggle to generate offense without him. They were just fine against a much better defensive team in Vegas the other night. I think they will be just fine here as well. They they have guys that just step up in his absence. They're pretty deep compared to years past. They have a lot of help from the blue line, that power play as well. And I talked about how teams approach certain games down the stretch, and where their intensity sort of fades based on the gravity of the game and the opponent. This is definitely one of those games that does not profile as an intense playoff atmosphere type of game. This is, the Coyote season is over. Oilers a little bit sort of looking ahead to tomorrow night. They're going to be confident that they can just outscore a Coyotes team that has been going kind of balls to the wall, so to speak. They've been generating a ton of offense. They've been scoring goals. They've been, creating a lot of chances, even against some good defensive teams. I think that'll continue here tonight, where they're just looking to, get some good reps for those young guys up front. They are scoring goals. Power play's been good. Obviously, Edmonton has no issue scoring themselves. These two teams, second and third in total expected goals per 60 at 5-on-5 over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, matchup wise, it definitely profiles as an over. And also the fact that I would expect, nothing's been confirmed, but I would expect Vejmelka and Picard tonight. Vejmelka's really been struggling his last few starts. He's been really bad. They've been alternating back and forth between Ingram and him down the stretch. So this should be a Vejmelka start, just considering that Ingram went last game. And I think Picard will definitely go tonight, just based on the fact that the Oilers have a lot of hockey still to play. They still have 5 games left in the last 8 days. So they're obviously going to want to get him into a number of those games, not overload Skinner. And tomorrow being a game against Vancouver that, could be for the division, obviously makes sense to save Skinner for that one and play Picard tonight. So I think we're going to get Vejmelka and Picard. Matchup wise too, everything just kind of points to the over for me. So I think we'll see some goals in this game.
There you go. Another one locked in here. We have 2 best bets so far for tonight. We'll recap them all at the very end. We'll recap them all at the very end of the show. If you do want to see them throughout, if you want to see them over the last little while, you want to see how we've done, you want to see what's gone wrong since the All-Star break, or you want to check our COV, anything like that, you can find it in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section. All bets are posted in there. All the bets are verified in there. That's the way to find it. There you go. Insight saying Picard confirmed.
I haven't seen that. Okay, nice.
There you go. All right, 2 more games to break down here tonight. We have 2 best bets so far through the first 3 games, 2 games remaining. Let's see what else Moretto's got for us, and if potentially the Undertaker comes out here. We've got the Vegas Golden Knights hosting the Minnesota Wild. Vegas minus 169. You can find the best price available on that one at Stacks. You see on the other side, the Wild plus 152. Again, some 5.5, some 6s. Those 5.5s are closer out to the minus 130 range on the overs there. This Vegas Golden Knights team, Moretto, this has been a team for us all year, even dating back to last year, really, where it was like, bet against them, they fuck you. Bet on them, they fuck you. Any thoughts on this game tonight, or are you just kind of looking at like, you know what? Let's not touch Vegas down the stretch.
No, this is an Undertaker bet. I do have under in this game. Yeah, had to happen eventually. I don't think this total should be at 6. I think this should be more at a flatter 5.5. Vegas and Winnipeg both really just not getting offense going down the stretch. It's been really bad. Minnesota especially has been really bad offensively. Obviously, more than capable on the back end. They have been sort of consistently. Fleury's playing really well. This is like they're playing insanely low event hockey. Last 2 weeks, 3.9 expected goals per 60 combined, goals against and goals for the Wild. They're really just playing these super, super low event games. And that plays right into what Vegas wants to do. Vegas obviously trying to get themselves set for playoffs here. This is one of those games where they're going to be happy to kind of rely on that defense and play, smart playoff kind of hockey. Obviously have not clinched a playoff spot yet. Still sort of need to get another. I mean, all likelihood, if they don't get any more points, they should still be okay. But, St. Louis is right there at the end of the day. They're only 3 points back. So obviously Vegas doesn't want to leave it up to chance. So will be an important one to kind of get 2 points for them for Vegas. And, yeah, I think that also plays into the fact that this should be more of a tighter kind of low event game. When Vegas needs to kind of, get a win or get points or get whatever it is they sort of need, that's kind of what they go back to. And they go back to that defensive brand of hockey, that Vegas hockey. And they haven't quite figured out the lines offensively. They don't really know, things haven't been firing on all cylinders as guys get back and they're trying to figure, the best lines out, get that chemistry going up front. It just hasn't quite happened for them yet. So I think, I think getting 6 in this game is a bit of a gift.
Okay, give me your honest panic level right now. Obviously there's a fair amount of confidence that this bet's going to cash, but St. Louis, they've got 3 games remaining here. The Golden Knights have 4. Vegas is up 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
You went blue horseshoe and you gave out or didn't give out, but you bet. Was it minus 900? Blues missed the playoffs. Like, what's the real thought process going on in your head right now as you watch these final games down the stretch, and how much are you starting to actually sweat this one out a little bit?
Okay, so right now my panic level is very, very low. If St. Louis were to beat Carolina tonight, then that shoots up a little bit. Hopefully Vegas can also win and then things will be okay. But yeah, St. Louis plays Seattle in their next game. That's probably going to be a win. And then they are at Dallas in the last game, which is a tough game, but maybe Dallas has wrapped everything up and they're just completely, rotating their team and they have no one in there. I think Vegas plays Edmonton again too, which isn't ideal. Tonight's huge. Tonight's honestly huge because right now I have no panic. I'm really I think the chances of the Blues making the playoffs are below 1% right now. But
right.
A Blues win and a Wild win tonight, and things all of a sudden get a little bit dicey.
Yeah, I agree.
But what's
with you,
that parlay? But what's that What's the Wild and Blues parlay pay tonight? Something
I think you can
pretty
find out
significant
quickly here. Yeah, Wild Blues parlay. Okay, there you go. So bet same showing plus 611.
Okay,
that's
not bad,
yeah. Maybe not the number you were hoping I was gonna say.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, that doesn't mean the Blues are in the playoffs. That still means they have their work cut out for them, right? But yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's not the number I thought was going to come up.
No, that's not the number I thought was going to come out either. Let's be completely honest. Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, There you go. Yeah, I just wanted to check in. I mean, I do agree, and I think that you're going to be okay on this one. I think it was a good bet. I still think it is a good bet. It's just the way that this one has gone. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is
Yeah, they're
happening?
just like
I didn't
lingering.
lay
They're
it,
just
but
hanging
like,
around, they're not
yeah,
like they just won't die.
these teams that just keep sniffing and sniffing and sniffing. It's like, okay, like that's enough. And then, I mean, I don't think it'll happen here, Moretto, but like, these are the ones where it's just like, typically when I watched before betting was involved in my life, like that's the team that all of a sudden at the end is like, oh, they made it in. And you're like, oh, cool. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like, for you, like, no, I don't need that. I don't want that.
it doesn't
But
help that
yeah,
that Vegas just like has lost 3 games in a row now, and they can't
I
seem
know.
to figure their shit
You
out.
win one
all
and
of a
you're
sudden.
fine.
Yeah, like win one of those games.
Yeah.
But I just looked. Vegas closes out the season 4 straight home games here. 3 of them, one of them being tonight against the Wild. The
Yeah.
last 2 games of the year against the Blackhawks and the Ducks. So I think we're okay. I think we should be good.
Yeah. No, agreed. All right, final game of the night here. Let's take a look at Anaheim hosting Calgary here. Here we've got Anaheim plus 125, best price available at Stacks. Calgary on the other side, minus 136. We're seeing a total of some 6.5s there, plus money on 6.5, over 6.5s. Any interest in this one besides parlaying the Ducks minus 1.5 with the Blackhawks minus 1.5?
I mean, honestly, not the worst. Like if you're gonna do those like minus 1.5 parlays, which I have never actually played one of those. I know we've talked about them a million times. I've never even actually done one. Yeah, I know you have, buddy. This probably isn't the worst night to do it because like we said, who knows what kind of effort you're gonna get from Nashville. Like it's very likely the train just keeps rolling and they lay a beating, but it's also very possible they kind of take their foot off the gas a little bit here. And Blackhawks last Friday night home game of the season, they play a lot of those Friday night home games. Maybe they get a bit of a better effort there. And I do like lean Anaheim in this game. I do think, Calgary on the back-to-back this late in the season with nothing to play for, like those back-to-backs with travel are kind of tough to get up for. Obviously, the travel is mitigated by the fact that they're basically staying in LA. Anaheim is right there too. But yeah, being on a back-to-back, Markstrom going last night, I do lean Anaheim. I'm like kind of close to playing Anaheim, but just the fact that Anaheim's been so bad themselves, I haven't quite wanted to pull the trigger on but this feels like these sort of coin flip games where you don't really know what sort of effort you're going to get forth. And at that point, you're going to take the bigger plus money there. So I do think it's Anaheim or nothing for me, but I don't actually have a bet in this game. I also lean towards the under. Anaheim's really struggling to generate anything right now. And so is Calgary. These are both like under teams. I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get in net from Calgary here being on this back-to-back. But honestly, I will probably end up on this under. Debating, do we just lock it in right now? Sorry. Or maybe we'll see. We'll see how the number moves throughout the day. Right now, okay. I'm not like rushing to bet it at this price, but I do want to I do kind of want to get involved in that maybe later on. So something to monitor.
Okay. What price are you looking for your like, yep, that's buy point?
I want to see if I just want to see if we can get a 6.5 minus 120.
Okay.
Then it's like I'm definitely in. We're not far. No, we're not far. I want to see if we can get a 6.5 minus 120. Then I'll definitely get involved in that.
Okay. There you go. That'll do it for today's games. There's a question here from Charles. Says, Moretto, do you have your series price projections for round 1 yet? Curious what you have our Panthers at. Moretto, I'm just going to say this. You got to tune in for playoff previews. Yeah, you want those playoff previews, you want projections, you want our bests and all that stuff. You got to tune into the series previews. It'll be right here on this channel. You got to subscribe. I appreciate everyone who watches the show and is going to come back throughout the playoffs and stuff as well. But this is a content business. This is what we have to do. You got to build up some anticipation. Otherwise, we're just gonna be giving everything out. You got to come back here for the series previews. So I apologize, Charles, but if you want Moretto's projections, come back for the series previews. Final thing we got to get to here tonight. I teased it off the opener. It has to be discussed. It's the 10th player in NHL history to score 68 goals. He's one behind Mario now for the 69 goals in a single season. Austin Matthews gets 2 there last night. It felt like he could have had 4 or 5 just watching how much he was around the net, the way he's been playing over the last little while. We had talked about it the other day, and we kind of had said, like, you know, it's possible for this guy, especially the way he's scoring goals this season. I didn't think he was going to get 70. I think everyone on the Wednesday show there was kind of in the same page of, like, it's not going to happen. He's not going to get the 70 just based on, you know, it's kind of some of the luck that's going to need to go into it. He's going to need a multi-goal game. Since that point, he scored on Tuesday. He scored Monday. He scored Tuesday. He scores 2 last night. He's 2 away now. There's 3 games remaining. We all think he's not going to play all 3 games, but now he only needs 2 and 3. They're going to play a Detroit team that Moretto's going to send out an under for, and then the score is going to be 7-4 one way or the other on Saturday night. How are you kind of, if you could handicap this at all, like, where are you kind of putting this of Matthews scoring 70 and the ability for him to get 2 in the final few games?
I think he can easily get 2 on Saturday because Detroit sucks, and I don't think that. I think that's kind of what you're hoping for if you're the Leafs, where you're hoping that he's going to get the two on Saturday, and you don't have to worry about remotely playing him against, you know, Florida and Tampa to end the season, right? You don't have to necessarily bring him on that road trip. Because I think that's what they're kind of hoping for, and I'm not going to say it's an over 50% chance, obviously, of him getting 2 goals on Saturday night. Of course not even close, but like, I feel like it's a bet that I would make because it's not going to be priced at, you know, it's going to be priced at, I'm not sure what, I don't know. I don't bet a lot of these goal scorer props, but like his anytime goals has to have been of what, like minus 150s, minus 140s lately. I don't really know
last
what
night I think it was minus 145-ish.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, 2+ would probably be in the, what, like 250-ish range. I honestly, I don't bet these goal scorer props at all. So I don't really have a good grasp on that. But my thing is, like, so this is for content wise and this and that, like, you know, Matthews chases 70, Matthews getting 70, like, incredibly impressive, 70 goals. But like, if he finishes on 68, is that like what shit season? Like, it's equally as impressive.
Yeah.
Like, who cares, right? It doesn't like, to me, it's like this whole, like, is he going to get 70? Like, I would, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. You know what I mean? If anything, you want him to maybe not hit 70, and then he's got a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder or something. Or I don't know, you get snubbed for the heart, get the chip on his shoulder, like, get this guy angry a little bit, right? He coasts to get 70, and then it's like, and then it's more of the same in the playoffs. Like, would you rather him finish with, you know, 60 in the regular season and 14 in the playoffs, or, you know, get his 70 and then have like 4 again? So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really, to me, I just like this whole thing. I don't really. I obviously I'm not a Leafs fan and I hate the Leafs, so obviously I care even less about it than other people would. But yeah, I think that regardless of what happens, it's obviously been a very impressive season, and whether he gets 70, some arbitrary round number or not, I don't think it matters to, you know, most people within that organization, as it does like to the media and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess part of it is just it's that flat number. You reach the next tier of out of the 60s to the 70s, but otherwise, completely agree. Like, he finishes with 68 or 69. It's like, doesn't take away from his season. Let me ask you this, because I know you are anti Maple Leaf, and that's fine. But how do you value the goal scoring that he's brought to the team? He's brought to this Maple Leafs team, and I'm more specifically referring to the Hart Trophy race. It felt like for a little while there, he was just out of it. It was Kucherov, it was McKinnon, it's McDavid. Over the last little while, especially as he gets closer to 70, it feels like he's becoming more prominent in it. I don't necessarily think he's going to win. I think you're probably going to look to McKinnon and McDavid ahead of him. I think Kucherov has kind of started to dissipate from the conversation a little bit over the last little while. Not fall out of it, but just has been less talked about. Matthews putting up, let's just say 68. He's got 68 right now. He puts up 68 with how he's played defensively, with some of the numbers we're seeing from the block shots and the takeaways and the impact on the game that way. We're seeing him playing on the penalty kill, 51 5-on-5 goals now, which you know what? That is outrageous. We're looking at a guy, Sam Reinhart, who's second behind him in goal scoring. He has 54 goals this year. Matthews has 51 5-on-5 goals. How do you value that in the Hart Trophy race? And does he deserve more conversation? Do you see a realistic route to him winning it this year? Or is it just kind of, hey, it's nice story, he's in the talk, but it's not going to be his year?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what it is. It's not, I think it's valued. Like the fact that he's in this conversation is because of the goals, right? So it is valued appropriately because he doesn't have anywhere near the points. And obviously the whole like goals versus assists, how much as well. There's a lot of guys that have a lot more points than him that aren't even remotely close to this conversation. So obviously the goals are being valued kind of where they should be, right? He's obviously in this conversation because of the fact that he's going to come close to scoring 70. That being said, like, it's hard to say like he doesn't, but like Matthews is a type of goal scorer where he's such a good goal scorer, but like he can be invisible in a game and then just like puck gets on a stick and he scores, right? Which is massive for a team. But I don't think he has the same effect shift in, shift out like a guy like McDavid and a guy like McKinnon. And that's not to take anything away from Matthews because he is the best goal scorer in the NHL and he is a fantastic player, obviously. Like that he's, you know, he's very much in the conversation. I'm not trying to like put him down or put down his accomplishments.
No.
But he doesn't like, you know, and there's something to be said for a guy like that too. It's great to have guys like that where, you know, things aren't necessarily going well for a team. Your team is kind of sleepwalking. All the guy needs is one chance and the puck's in the back of the net, right? Where you see a guy like McKinnon, he can be buzzing around all the time, you know, dominating shifts, but like the puck's not necessarily going in. They're not translating to goals, you know, so having a guy that can just get the puck in that easily is massive. But I think the fact that he's not having the same impact as a guy like, well, like you see McKinnon out there, but like that hat trick he scored the other night was insane. Like, I don't know if there's anyone in the league that can do that. That's just like, that's nuts. That's like, he's just making it look like a bit. He's skating by guys like they're playing tyke hockey. Like, you know, when you have someone like when you're kids and there's one guy who's just way better than everyone, like this is the NHL and he's doing that. It's insane. So I don't think, you know, I think that, you know, maybe he's not going to have the same accomplishments as some of these guys or the same milestones as some of these guys this year. But like just the fact that the impact he has on, you know, game in, game out is just kind of insane. And obviously, you know, they've dealt with injuries and stuff this year too, the Avalanche. And, you know, he's been there every single game. Whereas, you know, you have guys like Nichushkin enter the player assistance program. Obviously now Rantanen's out. You know, they've had a number of guys that have, you know, kind of been in and out of the lineup a little bit. And he's kept them afloat throughout all that. So I think he's definitely deserving of it. Matthews is definitely deserving of being in the conversation. I don't quite think he is the Hart Trophy winner though. And he's going to, you know, be compensated with the Rocket Richard, which is pretty great too.
Yeah, that's fair enough. All right, that'll do it for today's show. Let's recap our best bets that we've got here. And again, you guys can find them all if you're watching, listening. You can find them all over in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. But 3 best bets for us today in the 5 games. And the first one, we're going to start with the Canes Blues under 6 -120. We're going to go to the Coyotes Oilers over 6.5 -110. And final one, the Wild Golden Knights under 6 -117. So those are our 3 best bets for tonight's games as well. Make sure to hit that like button here on the stream today. We appreciate it. Those numbers that I asked for, they're up a little bit, so thank you very much. Make sure to subscribe here to the channel as we head to the playoffs. We're going to have plenty of content coming out, whether it be clips from the shows that you guys can watch back talking about these Hart conversations, if it's playoff previews, if it's game reactions, whatever, live watch alongs, it'll all be here on the Edgework HQ YouTube channel. So make sure to be subscribed, turn on notifications. But thanks so much to everyone who tuned in. I want to say just today. I
want people to just like tweet at us too, or tweet at us or message the show on Twitter, message us, whatever. Let us know like what you want in your playoff previews, because we did them for every playoff series last year. We're gonna do the same thing this year. If there's anything you want us to add in there, if there's anything, you know, you want us to focus on more, any markets, anything like that, like let us know and we will add stuff in. We'll do them the way you guys want them. So, but yeah, we're going to have them for all 8 first round series next week. So definitely keep an eye out for those. Those will be fun.
Yeah. Make sure to check that out. Check us out on Twitter and DM us, tweet at us, whatever it is. Let us know what you want to see. Comment below as well. Comment below. Thanks so much to everyone who tuned in here today. Moretto, appreciate you taking the time to do this. Hopefully Alex B feels better, and we'll see him back here on Monday. As for us, the next time you hear from us will be tomorrow on our Twitter account when you see our best bets posted for the Saturday slate. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you guys back here on Monday. Enjoy the games tonight, and good luck in your bets.